Hello everyone, hello Mr. Vita and all my friends. Welcome to this video. We are from group 5 where we present the material about the differentiated instruction. I'm Kadalasan 1, name 181221160. We'll be start this presentation with the material of introduction and also the definition of differentiated instruction. So we start from the introduction. Education is a learning activity that is dynamic and has a significant change. A learning process cannot be separated from the relationship between teacher and student in transport the knowledge so that the learning objectives can be achieved. So in this case, the role of the teacher are very important in managing learning that given to the students, starting from the monitoring the progress of the learning and also the development of the student being taught, which can be seen from the learning aspects such as cognitive, affective, and also psychomotor. The development of the work of education and also progress of the students in learning process requires teacher to re-evaluate every teaching practice that encourage teacher to maximize instructional practice in learning. As we know, in the classroom, there are various students with their uniqueness. In general, students can be categorized as a fast learner and also slow learner, which this difference will be determine the final result of the learning process. So, in responding to student differences, teacher must be also accommodate the difference that students have by paying attention students readiness levels, interest level, and also learning profiles by preparing teaching steps. So in this case, differentiated instruction becomes an alternative for a teacher as a teaching step to facilitate the student differences in a class. This instruction emphasizes providing effective learning for each student, giving students the opportunity to learn with their full potential in learning by bridging the differences in knowledge that students have in order to achieve the same academic goals in the class. Next, we move to the definition of differentiated instruction. According to Tomlinson 2005, in Subban 2006, differentiated instruction is a teaching philosophy that fully utilizes the different abilities of each student by accommodating differences in aspect of readiness, interest, and also the students' learning profiles. So, in differentiated instruction, the implementation of instruction in a class play a role in the meeting the needs of students. They are relevant to their academic characteristic and as a medium for connecting the differences of each students to get the meaningful learning. So basically, differentiated instruction is about how the teacher step in planning instruction to gradually distribute the lessons while meeting the needs of each student who is different. And the second is differentiated instruction is based on the social instruction relationship that the teacher and students have in carrying out the learning process, where the teacher acts a trained professional in developing their teaching environment. So to supporting this differentiated instruction is not just a teaching practice, but an instruction that provides interesting learning activities that are relevant to students' need with different engagement to each student to achieve the same academic goals in a learning process. According to the Tomlinson and Abel 2010 in Stephen Joseph 2013, state that the essence of the practice of differentiated instruction in the classroom is to modify curriculum elements of curriculum such as content, process, and also products, which best which are based on the level of um, what is it on the level of readiness students, interest, and also the learning profiles of students. So therefore, the teacher are expected to be able to do it effectively by using the appropriate and the effective learning strategies to help create an atmosphere of collaboration in the classroom by differentiating the lessons given of each different group of students based on the list aspects. So that's all about the introduction and also the definition of differentiated instruction. And the next material about the advantage and innovation in differentiated instruction will be presented by my friends. Thank you.
Hello. Um, Today I would like to explain about the advantage and innovative of differentiate instruction. In differentiate instruction, we as a teacher have to make a mini group based on student condition. By fast and slow learners learn the material, so it can help teachers to choose suitable activities for the students. According to the Hasley, he said that the teacher can use survey to classify the students, such as quizzes, games, and also brief group performance. As a teacher, we have to know what students have, right? The first one is student readiness in learning. The teacher has to know about it to make sure that students are ready or not in learning. To make sure of it, the teacher can use a perception to make students become ready, or to make sure know about the matter that will be given before the class start. And beside that, the teacher have to know the information about student interest and motivation. It also can help teachers to choose appropriate strategies in learning for the teaching in class, to make the student more active in the lesson and make student increase their interest and motivation. And the last one is the teacher have to know about student learning profile, which is needed by the teacher to prepare the strategies and approaches that will be used in the class. Because in one class there are a lot of students with different approaches and strategies. Students are also able to practice independent work, which involve students solving problems, developing critical thinking, and also collaboration skill, which provide feedback of the student as an effective formative assessment. Okay, now let's we talk about the advantage of differentiate instruction. The first one is differentiate instruction effective for any types of student, which in one class there are different types and different learning style of student. And also it can help students and teachers to find out the best learning system that's suitable for their learning style. And also it can help students to increase their motivation to participate actively in learning process. The second one, for the students, students have more various strategies in the learning, which means that the student have a lot of experience and that can help students to understand the content of the material, because the learning process is interesting to do and it's not monotonous. The third one, for the teacher also have various types of assessment that can be carried out in the classroom, which can be foster creativity of the student, such as writing, speaking, image, music, constructed object, and also movement. I think that's all about the presentation, and let's go to the next part. Okay.
So, hi, I'm Adi. Here, I'm going to talk about the use strategy or techniques in differentiated instructions or DI. So, before we move to talk about how many techniques or strategies in differentiated instructions that can implemented in classrooms, uh, before I want to tell you about something about differentiated instructions. So differentiated instructions will make classrooms more effectiveness. Why I said that? Because there are relations of collaborations, the teachers and the students. So it means that the teachers and the students are active participants in the classroom environment. So in the classrooms, as you know that all of the students uh, participately participate actively in the learning process. And about the teachers, observe them. uh, I mean that uh, the teachers are using assessment, formative assessments, and also the summative, also the evaluations. So differentiated differentiated teachings in the content, process, and the product. So the three about that construct in the activities. So uh, this will make both the teachers and the students uh, achieve their goals. Their goal is uh, make the classroom make the best of and most effective learning experience. So therefore as we know therefore we know that the based on the context in the differentiated instructions, the most important thing that uh, will make the students will make the classroom more effectiveness. So the teachers will make the students being active participants in the process. So uh, what the teachers uh, means that what is the techniques uh, will be used by the teachers for the students, and what the strategies instructional strategies that facilitate differentiation. So uh, in instructional strategies there are include learning centers, interest group, learning construct, and uh, tier activities. So I will explain you now about the how many the techniques and the strategy. I before explain that there are five: learning centers, interest group, learning contracts, trial activities and learning stations yeah. So that is can implement in classrooms which represent on teaching scenario. So I will use based on the constructivism Vygotsky. So about the result, uh, I use teaching scenario. So for the first for the first activities is the choice to choose activities. So these activities, the teachers just know very well students' interests or readiness when choosing work in pairs, small groups, or individually. So these activities uh, based on the situations the students needs what they want to choose work in pairs or small group or individually. So after that we use the interested group strategy. So this explain strategy that students have dissimilar learning styles, readiness or interest working in a group. So students work in group which they have different abilities. Yeah, as you know that the students each of individual have different abilities, different learning style, different interests. Exactly, sure. So on the other hand, so, when we choose the groups, there are when we choose the groups, there are a group homogeneous that define all members of group have similar skill and interest, or sometimes or might be mixed group. So I uh, would I will I can uh, bring the example for you. The example for the um, fast learner and slow learner. So how to the teachers do about the fast learner and the slow learners. First, the strategies can choose learning contract strategies and are helpful strategy. So the teachers design a task for the particular students, some common tasks. I mean, the teachers design some common tasks for the students, all students. So then after the given the summon tasks for the group students, all or member of the group, then instructional strategy, namely stations, are useful for the teachers guidance or help for slow learners how to completely, for instance, slow learner for instance the students make a group and uh, achieve and make assignment like say the instructional strategy stations are useful for the slow learner needs need the teachers help slow learner to make uh, sentence maybe. So uh, there is, for the fast learner, slow learner, uh, slow learner uh, complete assignment when the teachers guidance or help them. For the fast learner, using extension strategies. So you know that fast learners in doing tasks finish for the first have finished tasks done for first. Maybe I think that I think the fast learners can finish the tasks earlier. So the teachers uh, attend the for the fast learners uh, when done earlier, uh, choosing uh, eh, researching informations, choose the topic and uh, share the class, share the friends in the class. So uh, and about the for make the done earlier, you know that the groups when we make a group, uh, actually uh, most more uh, more helpful than earlier. We make cooperations, or uh, we to help each other about the problems. That's and about the uh, third one is after we after we choose a walk in pairs, small group or individually, and then about walk uh, different abilities. So after and the third is learning interest center. So this is the technique of learning centers is applied to learning stations activities, learning stations again, which useful for differentiating it, exploring the various tasks. So there are various tasks the teachers have. So the students work in their own in specified work simultaneously. So can be said that all of the members of the groups have a subject or topic areas is different, and they are different choosing the topic of based on the students interest about the content. So after that, after the choosing the topic of based on the interest students, we use tier assignments, and this is for the in the learning process. This maybe tier assignments means tier activities in the learning process. So this strategy are helpful the teachers working students in a small group, but they also work independent study in based on the topic as interest by the personal students. The activities for each group are connect to the students' readiness and key skill that they need to get. So in relations to that activity, explain that differentiated instructional strategy, which is the good way for the students in group to achieve the same goal. So the goal is the same, but the different topic they choose based on the interest. Yeah, and this learning strategies place the learner in the center. So this is the learning centers for the students make learning centers. I mean in the learning process in doing uh, walking in group. So the teachers know about the prefer active. So students prefer active in doing tier assignments. So last, adjusting discussion questions. This is the I have a example that create maybe create a PowerPoint and summarize the lessons, and another read a passage and answer related questions. Can it and this technique made the student successful readiness or ability level. Yeah, the in the differentiated instructions also need the um, a challenges for the students, make the challenges, makes them challenge. uh, so you can use complex instructions using graphic organizer strategy. This is a challenge for the students, one of the challenge. Hello, I'm Adi, I'm back. So I'm back. We move to the challenge and essentials of differentiated instruction. So I want to explain number one and number two. Number one is the objectives. So the challenge for the objective is one of the implementing differentiated instructions is that curriculum objective. So the teachers must consider about the curriculum. So what the learning objective for the students, what the content the teachers have will share the to students that students needs meet the learning objective. So the challenge is about fulfill on time. So that content, that learning objective must fulfill on time. So the learning objectives are carried out in a short time according to the specified time period. So the students had difficulty understanding of the content because short learning time for each single objective. So which resulted in when the students might be not meet their needs learning objective. So the essential to resolve the challenge challenge is long-term objective. So that the way design long-term objective like implemented weekly, monthly, and the daily goals, where each assignment must be adjusted to the student's learning style and supported by the selections of teaching strategies that suit their needs met. So next, number two is time. The applications of differentiating instructions tends to more or a lot of uh, initial preparations by the teachers and giving instructions more to the students. So it will be affect slow learner or fast learner when working tasks. So it will affect the managing of time to work. So for the essentials for the resolve this challenging is teachers can perform proper time managements. So provide sufficient time for the slow learner or fast learner and giving instructions such as by using technology, computers, projections, screens, and etc. This will be used to be shorter will be a shorter time. So that is all about and continue for the number three by my partner.
Number three is duration. The other challenge is the duration when the student have to complete the activity or task that given because it can spend long time to completing it, and also some activities or tasks that given are less challenging for the student. So some ways that can be done to overcome this is by asking the team to carry out the other activities if the given task is completed prematurely, such as evaluating the result of the discussion, and also giving more challenging tasks or activities to the student so that it can increase the seriousness and the duration of time given in the work can be completed by right. And the number four is classroom size and also arrangement. The size of the classroom also affect the giving instruction in the classroom because the classroom environment is a supporting factor for arranging student collaboration with adequate activity movement. So the teacher must help students to adapt the classroom occupied when learning activities so as not to limit the movement of the student and also the collaboration of the students. And last, number five is teaching style. The teachers are not recommended to use a teacher center and learning there is less student center. Rather, teacher must be able to adapt a student-centered teaching style so that the student so that teacher can be provide the opportunity to student to um, develop their thinking skill, sharing the information that understood to each other student so that uh, the collaboration of the students uh, will be effectively.
So here I want to give the conclusion about this presentation. Basically, differentiate instruction is how the teacher planning instruction in the class. There are also a technique in differentiate instruction, such as choose appropriate activities, flexible grouping, learning interest center. Activities of each group is connected to student readiness and skill, and teacher adjust. There are also challenges in implementing differentiate instruction in classes, such as limited time in understanding single objective. Students require a lot of time to preparation and receive instruction. Students spend a lot of time to completing the task, classroom environment, and the last one is teaching style. Okay, I think that's all about the presentation today. I hope you enjoy the presentation and see you